She's one of the rising stars in the women's flyweight division. She does not fight in the UFC. She is not featured on this new season of The Ultimate Fighter, in which the UFC is crowning its very first women's flyweight champion. However, she is considered by most pundits, including myself, one of the very best at 125. She is the current reigning, defending LFA flyweight champion. She returns to action in a little less than 2 weeks. She is Andrea KGB Lee, and she joins us via the phone. Andrea, are you there?
I'm here.
What happened to Skype, Andrea?
I don't know. Like, I've never had this problem before, but we weren't able to connect. And I'm very sad because I was really hoping to see you face to face.
Yeah, I'm sad as well, but I'm happy that you're on the program. It's great to have you. Congrats on all the success. There's much to discuss with you. First things first, as I mentioned, you are considered one of the very best flyweights in the world. You certainly are. I mean, anyone's rankings, but you're not on The Ultimate Fighter. Did you consider going on The Ultimate Fighter to try to win the UFC belt?
Well, we thought about it, long and hard, and we just decided that because I was still kind of injured. I had like a back injury in my last fight against with Liz Tracy, and that was literally like a few days before the TUF tryouts. So I didn't think that it was in my best interest to go and try out, like a couple days after my fight, and my back is also, kind of injured. So we figured that it would just be better for me to wait and come in the UFC in a more conventional way. And
I don't think anyone would begrudge you of that decision, especially when you consider, who are the top fighters at 115 who didn't go in The Ultimate Fighter, like Joanna Jacek and Claudia Gadelha, et cetera. Was it hard for you, though, to pass up that opportunity?
It was, and I was battling with the decision, and I was talking to people trying to get their opinions on what it is that, they thought that I should do. And I talked to a lot of higher level, like UFC fighters too. And, I was even told by them that, that I was better off staying out of the house. So, I think that we did the right thing.
Okay. And how is the back now?
I'm happy. I'm back to training hard, and my back is doing a lot better. I still, it still gets tight, and it gives me trouble some, but I'm able to bend over and touch my toes now completely.
Okay.
I'm able to like do squats and pick up the weights. So I'm happy about that.
This is going to be your fourth fight in 2017. You're fighting again on September, 22nd, or is it 23rd? No, it's September 23rd, Invicta. 22nd, LFA 23. That's it. I got my 20s mixed up. And you were a part of Invicta, but you went to LFA, which is an interesting route because most of the top female fighters are in Invicta. Why did you decide to leave Invicta to go to LFA full time?
I have not left Invicta. I'm still contracted with Invicta. Invicta just allows me to fight with LFA, and since I am their champion, I have to defend my title, and we have a good relationship. Invicta and LFA does. I'm actually supposed to be fighting on one of the next one of the next Invicta cards, so I'm excited about that.
I've always wanted to
2 fights this year for Invicta.
You have, but okay. So most recently was Invicta, but so you kind of go back and forth, right?
Yes.
Which is interesting. Not a lot of fighters get to do that. You seem to have a special contract.
Yeah, it was just something that we agreed to in the very beginning of my contract, and it's just kind of stuck that since from the first time that I fought with Invicta, I was juggling between, where it was that I needed to go, and Invicta was where would be the best option for me because of all the women in the Invicta. But Legacy, and now LFA, they come to my hometown, and I'm able to sell a lot of tickets and fight in front of my people. So it's just it's like a win-win. I get to fight in front of my home crowd, and sell tickets and still get to fight for Invicta. So it's great.
One thing I've always wanted to ask you is, where did the KGB nickname come from? I don't think you have any Russian ties, right? Where did this come from, this nickname?
I have no Russian ties as far as I know, but my husband, who is also my coach, Donnie Aaron, he has thought from the beginning that I looked Russian or had a European descent of some sort. I don't think I do, but he started calling me KGB, and then everybody else at the gym started picking up on it and calling me KGB, and then it just stuck. And some people like it, some people don't like it, but it stuck. So it's my nickname now.
I think it's one of the best nicknames in the sport, especially the logo. We're looking at your logo right now in one of your recent fights. But I'm wondering if some people get a little sensitive about Russia, especially in this day and age. Do you get a lot of flack for it?
I get some. Everybody's sensitive nowadays, but I've been KGB for basically 7 years now, and 7 years ago, I would have people ask me what KGB meant. Now everybody knows what KGB is again because they're talking about the Russians all the time. So like literally 7 years ago, it seemed like nobody even knew what KGB was. They had forgotten about it, but now it's a big deal.
Did you ever consider, because it's interesting, you rock the KGB logo, but you also rock the cowboy hat. Did you ever consider going full Russian garb, walking out to one of your fights?
I think we've made jokes about it, but the cowboy hat is kind of my signature, and that's what everybody knows me, as. The girl with the cowboy hat.
Right.
So
I like the juxtaposition.
It's odd. It's an odd duo, the cowboy hat and being a Russian, or having the whole Russian logo and the name. So, but it works.
You are also from Atlanta, Texas, not to be confused with Atlanta, Georgia. By far the most famous person to come out of there. Number two, I would argue, would be maybe Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know if people have heard of her. You are infinitely more famous than she is. Do you know her family? Like Atlanta, Texas. How many people live in Atlanta, Texas?
I don't know how many people live. It is a small town. I'm not really sure the population, but I don't know her family. I'm not sure if she still has family there. But my dad did know her. They went to school together.
Oh wow!
My dad wasn't a big fan of her, but
why?
I don't know. I guess he didn't like her jokes. I'm not sure.
Wait, was he not a fan of her as a classmate or as a comedian?
As a classmate.
Wow. He didn't like her jokes back then. That's fascinating. I wonder why.
I don't know. He didn't say he didn't like her jokes. I just remember him saying that he didn't like her too much. Maybe she was, maybe she was different back then. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe she was rude. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, that's interesting. And from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, you got into martial arts very late in your life. Not late as far as your overall life, but you don't have a background in martial arts. It was around like 1920 that you first got into it?
Yes, I was 20 years old.
And how? How did you get into it?
It was just something that I had wanted to do growing up, and I wasn't able to because they didn't offer that in Atlanta. So when I moved here after I graduated high school, I started seeing advertisement for it, and I moved here at 18, and then a couple years went by, and I was making enough money. I decided that I was going to go find a gym, and I had friends that were talking about cage fighting, and because that was the term they used. That and they're like, "Oh, I have a cage fight coming up." I'm like, "What's cage fighting?" I didn't realize that that he was talking about MMA. Like UFC, like what you see on. Because I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm familiar with UFC, but I hadn't heard the term cage fight at that time. And I just thought, wow, that's cool. I want to do that because, I've always wanted to do some boxing or kickboxing or something. And then I just looked for a gym and I found Donnie Aaron. Then it was hard to find somebody who was going to take a female serious because there wasn't really a whole lot of females like fighting, it seemed. But yeah, I found Donnie. He took me serious and he got me started. And here I am, 8 years later.
How did your family react when you decided you wanted to do this as a professional?
They were. My dad was really worried, though. He's like my biggest fan now, but he was all worried about me getting hurt, and they, of course, they'd all say, "Why would you want to mess up your pretty face?" The usual. But now they're all on board and they all support me.
And do you do this full time?
I do.
While raising a daughter?
Yes, but we have good family support. Donnie, his mom and sister, they help out a lot. They help out like so much. It's crazy how much they help. And so, I mean, I have to, with Ainsley, you know, she's with them a lot, and then she's with us. So it's like she goes back and forth, you know, because like I'm having to train twice a day. She's with us like, you know, 4 days out of the week, and then she's with them like 3 days out of the week, and you know, so it's tough, you know. But I get to see her more than most
Sure.
working parents. So,
how would you feel if she told you in around 10 or so years that she wanted to be a women's MMA fighter like her mom?
I would be happy, you know. I mean, like she does train with me and Donnie. We work with her, and she's been really into the whole kickboxing part. She hasn't really got into jiu-jitsu yet, but we've worked with her on it. And I think she's coming around. You know, she's starting to like the whole thing. But I think that if she came to me and said it was something that she wanted to do, I would support her 100%. But if it's not something she wants to do, then I'd still support her in whatever else it is that she wants to do.
Do you let her come to your fights?
Oh, she loves coming to my fights. She kind of, as long as it's not 21 and up, she's always there. And this fight happens to be 21 and up. And just the other day, she was begging me. That was funny. She's like, Mom, she's like, I want to go to your fight at the Horseshoe. And she thinks there's going to be horses there because it's the Horseshoe.
Yeah.
But I told her, I'm like, it's 21 and up. She's like, what's that mean? I was like, it means you're not old enough. You have to be 21 years of age or older. She said, well, you can make them. I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you could, yeah. She's like, you just beat them up.
Wow. How old is she?
Oh, you want me to? She's 6.
Oh my gosh. And this next fight is taking place at a casino, right, in Bossier City. So that's why she can't attend.
Yeah, it's sad, yes, but it's a bummer.
Are you you and your family? Do you live on a farm? Are you an actual cowboy, or do you just like wearing the hats, or cowgirl, I should say?
Well, I've always, you know, like wearing cowboy hats, and I've always grown up with a bunch of animals. I mean, growing up, you know, my family had farm animals. I never had horses, but, you know, we had like cows and goats and rabbits. Rabbits are, I know it's weird, but we had chickens and other strange animals like emus and pheasants and pigs. But now, you know, as an adult, I do not have any farm animals. All I have is a dog. But my husband's family, they're all big into rodeo, and they're all ropers, or they do something that has to do with the rodeo. Actually, my husband's uncle is in the Rodeo Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. What's his name?
Dennis Aaron. He's in there for, I want to say, roping.
The Rodeo Hall of Fame. Wow. I didn't even know that existed. That's incredible. Perhaps in 10, 15 years, you'll be in the MMA Hall of Fame if there is one of those. And it has been a good road for you, although last year was a bit of a bumpy time when you were suspended. Can you talk about that? Did you in fact knowingly take a diuretic? What happened there?
Well, I took half of a diuretic because I was feeling really bloated, and I was stressing out, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to like cut that little bit of weight. I don't know. I didn't think, you know, I wasn't really thinking about it being like a drug, or I wasn't thinking about it being on the banned substance list or anything like that. Cause I wasn't familiar with the whole USADA banned substance list. And yeah, I took half of a pill to flush out the last little bit of water in my system, and I got suspended. But I haven't done that again. I've gotten better with my diet. So
was that difficult for you?
Swell up a lot. Huh?
Because, you know, initially people think, oh, you're a cheater, you're taking steroids. They don't really read what the actual infraction was. Was that a difficult time for you?
Yeah, it was, because I don't take steroids and never have. And I had no idea that people used fluid pills for steroids. I had no idea. I was confused on why it would be, on a banned substance list when you can buy them over the counter. But then I looked it up online, and it read that people use them to flush out their system. But I mean, you got to think, like, I used half. I was like, it was a day or 2 days before weigh-in, something like that. I mean, by then I don't have anything. I don't have that much water to flush out of my system. So I mean, like, if I was on steroids, it totally would have showed up in my system.
Okay.
Is what I think, because I only had like a little bit to pee out. It was like 2 pounds or 3 pounds or something like that. But anyways, I don't take them now, and I'm not going to. I got a good diet now, so I'm doing good.
Yeah, and you're on a roll. You've won your last 3 in a row. Like I said, you return to action in a little less than 2 weeks, September 22nd to be exact, on Access TV. You're fighting in the co-main event of LFA 23. You're fighting a young woman by the name of Jamie Thornton. Are you getting heat for this matchup? I saw you sort of defending yourself on Twitter. Are people saying that this is an incredible opponent for you?
Yeah, you never know, what you're going to get. Just because, I haven't heard a whole lot of, about her. She's not been in the light, for MMA. And I think she's 4-2, and 4 of her wins have come by finish in the first round. So, she can be dangerous, but, a lot of people are saying, she's not a tough opponent for me, and that I need to be facing somebody on a higher caliber. And I understand that, but we had a really good opponent, and Karina, she's like 25, and I'm not even sure how many losses she has, but she has like 25 wins under her belt. She was supposed to be the one I'm fighting, but she fought a couple weekends ago, and she fought to a decision. She got too banged up, and she had to pull out. So then that left us looking for opponents, and they asked multiple females, they asked multiple fighters, but a lot of them were either contracted, or the money wasn't right, or they needed more time to prepare for the fight. So, everybody, there was always a reason. And then Jamie Thornton, which was probably one of the last ones that they asked, she took it. And I'm just happy to have an opponent, because this happened to me in my last fight, sort of, but the girl couldn't get a visa, and then they couldn't find me an opponent. So I'm just happy to have an opponent. I'm happy to be making some money. Yes,
of course. And are you hoping that this fight lines you up with the next one being in the UFC? Is that the plan?
I don't know really. Like I said, I am planning on fighting again with Invicta on one of their next events. And, and then if I haven't been called to the UFC by then, either I'll be fighting again for LFA to defend my title, or maybe I'll get another fight with Invicta, whichever one comes first. Okay. We're playing it by ear.
All right. Have you watched The Ultimate Fighter thus far? Are you impressed with the talent?
I have watched it, and, there's some females on there that I have not heard about, so I'm interested in seeing what it is that they have to bring to the table. And then the ones that I am familiar with, like Barb Honchak, Roxanne, Leslie. No, who's he? Well, and I've also fought a couple of the girls that are on there, and I have beaten them. But I'm impressed with the top 5, 6 girls.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, your knockout back in January, I think, a contender for one of the best of the year, and that kind of started.
Really?
Yeah, it was fantastic, and especially considering a little bit of a layoff, I thought it was a really impressive showing, and you've been very active this year. And something tells me we'll be seeing you in the UFC as they open up this flyweight division sooner rather than later. So I want to wish you the best. Good luck to you on September 22nd. It was great to have you on the program. Next time we'll have you on via Skype so we can see the hat and everything that goes with it. But great to meet you.
I had my hat ready.
Oh, gosh. We blew it. We absolutely blew it.
No, dang it. Next time for sure, though.
It is a deal. Thank you, Andrea. All the best to you in a couple of weeks. And again, congrats on your success thus far in MMA.
Thank you, Ariel.
All right.
Can't wait to talk to you again.
All right. Same here. Looking forward to it. There she is. Andrea KGB Lee. No Russian ties. Just looks like someone of Russian descent. We've cleared it up. She returns to action on September 22nd, LFA 23 on Access TV, defending her LFA flyweight title against Jamie Thornton.